With looming midterm elections, many Democrats see an opportunity to make a power grab and seize key areas out from under conservative leadership. In this special report, One America's very own Pearson Sharp explains how socialist billionaire George Soros is doing everything he can to make that a reality.
After devastating losses in the 2016 election, Democrats are looking for ways to reverse their defeat and gain back some control across the country. And they aren't picky about how they get that power back, so long as they push conservatives out. This means they're relying on alternative methods to snatch back power. Enter George Soros. There's no bigger Democratic megadonor than George Soros, the billionaire investor turned political maverick who's openly worked to influence elections in Democrats' favor for decades. Soros has admitted to orchestrating government coups in Croatia, Georgia, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and Yugoslavia, all to match his progressive socialist agenda. He's famous for breaking the Bank of England, shorting the currency and causing a financial crisis, and earning himself over $1 billion. After destroying Thailand's currency, the Prime Minister called him an economic war criminal. But Soros doesn't seem to lose any sleep at night.
I am basically there to make money. I cannot and do not look at the social consequences of what I do.
So with all his international meddling, why not stir up unrest right here in the U.S.? Well, there's lots of evidence proving that's exactly what he's doing. He already funds numerous radical groups in America that promote violence, groups such as Antifa and Black Lives Matter, to which he donated over $33 million to help stir up protests in cities like Ferguson, Missouri. Soros also fights to support illegal immigration into the U.S. Along with trying to sway the Supreme Court to favor illegal immigration policies, he also launched a smartphone app called Notifica to help illegal aliens avoid federal authorities. It resembles his plan for Europe, where Soros has pushed for the EU to take in more than 1 million Muslim migrants every year, a plan that far outpaces Europe's own native birth rate, effectively replacing Europe's population with Muslim migrants. He's taking that plan to places like California, where the billionaire is making his influence felt up and down the state. One America News spoke with Summer Stephan, the current district attorney for San Diego. Summer is running in a race to hold on to her position as the county's top prosecutor against a Soros-backed candidate. She told us she's not actually running against her opponent, Genevieve Jones-Wright, a name no one had heard until she recently started getting funding from the leftist billionaire from out of state. Instead, Summer says she's actually running against George Soros.
It's very hard to really distinguish between George Soros and my opponent. The platform is identical, and it seems to be really a copy of what George Soros is pushing nationwide. And that's what we're facing here in San Diego. This is not really a San Diego election. It's an outsider election kind of disguised as a local election.
Soros is targeting local elections, particularly for district attorneys, where he's working to insert candidates who conform to his ambitions. Spending millions on local DA campaigns, Soros is working to advance one of the main goals of the progressive left, overhauling the entire justice system in America. So far, he's put more money into DA races than the total spent on the 2016 presidential campaign by even the biggest super donors. That includes key states like in California.
So George Soros has been targeting over the last 3 years district attorney races. He spent over $15 million on DA races across the country. And so far, he has won at least 12 elections out of 14. Why would someone spend this amount of money, millions of dollars, on a district attorney race?
He's already spent over $50 million in the ACLU to vet DA candidates who will push through his laundry list of criminal justice reforms, which usually help fast-track criminals right out of jail. His organization, the Open Society Foundation, works in over 100 countries around the world. It works to promote his agenda on topics like radical Islam, funding attacks against anyone who criticizes Muslim extremists. Under the direction of George Soros, the Open Society also works to limit free speech, pushing to regulate the internet and pick and choose what can remain online and what should be removed. His agenda is so widespread, the former Department of Justice Attorney J. Christian Adams claimed that Americans do not understand the extent to which Soros fuels this anti-constitutional, anti-American agenda.
He basically just selects a district attorney that will do whatever he asks and puts that district attorney as the top public safety official. So now he gets to avoid what the law is, what the legislature says, and instead has your district attorney following all of his platform of not enforcing laws, but actually decriminalizing laws.
Most of the candidates he's backed go on to win, and he's already put his money behind elections in Florida, Illinois, Texas, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Colorado, and California, spending more than $15 million to do it. Those elections saw well-established Republicans pushed out of their seats, replaced by Democrats who promoted anti-law enforcement agendas. That's apparent in Soros' DA candidate in San Diego, who Summer Stephan says supports his anti-law enforcement values, including decriminalizing the buying and selling of sex.
One of the most dangerous parts of his platform has to do with decriminalizing the buying and selling of sex. My opponent has bought into this platform. In fact, in a recorded interview, she said that we should have Craigslist and Backpage be able to post for buying and selling of people for sex. And she even argues that that makes it safer for people to be sold online.
And it's the same story across California, where Soros is backing other candidates who take the sides of criminals against police, creating a justice system that relies on a socialist war criminal for its values. It's similar to the situation in Sacramento, where Soros is dumping his money into the campaign of another far-left anti-law enforcement candidate, Noah Phillips. With help from Soros, Phillips has raised over $750,000 to take down the current district attorney, Anne Marie Schubert. Despite her excellent record for being tough on crime, Soros and Phillips are trying to paint Schubert as a racist, without any evidence whatsoever. And in California, where places like San Diego are enjoying a 49-year low in crime, many officials, including Schubert, say that thanks to the criminal reforms from George Soros, crime in California is likely to soar. And even other Democrats oppose Soros' tactics, with former Colorado Governor Bill Ritter condemning the billionaire for his false and reckless attempts to manipulate the DA's race in 2016. But Republicans aren't staying silent, and a group of district attorneys in California are banding together to fight back against Soros' efforts to throw the elections. The Association of Deputy District Attorneys in LA are calling out Soros for what they call an assault on criminal justice and public safety. They say the most disturbing example of his corruption is happening in San Diego, as Soros bankrolls the inexperienced Genevieve Jones-Wright, who's never held a leadership position and has promised to be soft on crime. The primary election for DA in San Diego is June 5th, and Summers says for voters who are concerned, they can visit her website to take action and get involved. This kind of meddling in elections is a worrying trend, and it's not only a problem for Californians, it's also a problem for Americans across the country as the progressive left works to promote its agenda, edging out anyone who stands in their way and ignoring the will of the people. Pearson Sharp, One American News.
We can use your help. Call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call today.